Welcome everybody to today's weekly webinar for Perfect Fit Closets for today, Thursday, November 10th at 2022 at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific. This is our weekly webinar, and every Thursdays we talk about tips and tricks and advanced training. Today we're going to be talking about creating fictitious walls and how to add islands. This is a much requested video, and this will be recorded and populated in our dealer portal. I've got my 2020 up and running. I'm going to go ahead and create a master closet. So let's create a larger closet here. Let's say 200 inches by 200 by 200. And let's just say by 170. Hit escape, and I've created my wall. So I'm going to go ahead and change my wall settings here. I don't need any outside wall placements. We're going to create all inside wall placements. So I'm going to go ahead and edit that. And I have wall 1, 2, 3, and 4. The question that I'm getting asked is how to create fictitious walls. We know that when we click on the room layout, we can click on the continuous wall, and we can select double-sided or single-sided. My setting is for double-sided, so I can use both sides of the wall, and most dealers will probably use single-sided. In the Room Layout tab, we can click on the Construction Lines area. In the Construction Lines area, the Continuous Wall button. If I click on the drop-down, I can have double-sided or single-sided. It doesn't matter. Even if you click single-sided and you need it to be double-sided, you could always add the placement zones after that. That's all what we're really looking for, is the placement zones. I'm going to click on double-sided for now, and I'm going to click on the Continuous Wall, the Continuous Line. I now have a plus button, and I can go ahead into my design. I'm going to left click once and just drag it across and left click again. And now I don't need any further lines, so I'm going to right click on my mouse, and that saves my construction line. If we look at our perspective view, we have our 4 walls and our construction line in the middle, which is fictitious. It's a fictitious wall, and it's not populated like so. Let's go ahead and check our placement zone. So I have a wall that's 117 3/16 on each side. I've got a placement zone in the back and a placement zone in the front. Before I populate anything, it's easiest just to grab your elevation view at this time. So I'm going to double click this area. And the other way to grab an actual elevation is to select the area, and underneath my room layout tab, click on add elevation. I'm going to label this just so that we have an understanding of what is what. All right, so I'm going to label this as island back, and I'll label the tab, double clicking the tab, change the name, island back. And one more note, and I'm going to say that this is the island back. And last but not least, we have this elevation. Add note. This will be my island front. Double click the tab, and we'll label this like so. Perfect. All right, so now I have my naming convention all ready to go, and I've got my fictitious wall. There are 2 ways to create an island. Underneath my modules, I can use either the stackable module, or I can use the island module. You'll see the differences. With the island module, I have a front and a back. I can change the depths for each one, customize it. One side can be greater than the other side. Or if I use the stackable module, I can have a module with only one opening side. So let's drag and drop both so everyone can see the differences. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop a stackable module. I'm going to drag it into my top view or my elevation view. I'll use the top view. Once I see my magnet, I'm going to let go of my mouse. Right-click the illustration so I can see it a bit better. We'll keep it all at the standard height at 34 13/16. Everybody has different preferences on the height of your islands. I'll just keep it at the default at 34 13/16. Again, everyone's a bit different here. Please ask your client of how high you'd like this to be. And please keep in mind that we're also going to add a top, either 3/4 inch top or 1.5 inch top after that. So it'll increase the height of the system. Let's make 2 openings. And underneath applied back, so we don't want this hollow, we're going to click on a 3/4 inch applied back. So now we have a 3/4 inch applied back, or I can even make this to 1 opening and have 1 applied back. So let's have 1 opening for now with an applied back. Let's change this depth to 24 inches deep. And let's go ahead and change the width to 30 inches there. Panel on the left and panel on the right, we're going to keep them all half drilled. We got a clean face, we got a clean back, we got a clean left and right end panels, and we have line boring holes on the inside. We're going to click on OK, and we're going to drop that right in. That's my first type of module that I have. The next type of module is an island, which has an opening on the back side as well as the front side. So underneath my categories, we're going to go into our modules, and underneath our modules, we're going to click on Island Module, iMod. I'm going to left click, drag it into my top view. Once I see my magnet, I can let go of my mouse. If I move my cursor over, you can see that I have 2 magnets on the left and right. So once I have my 2 magnets, because I want to place it right in the middle of this construction line, we're going to let go of my mouse. Right-click the illustration. And here's an example here. We'll do nice and easy here. We'll make a couple of them. We'll make this one with 2 openings. And let's make this 14 deep, 14 back, and let's just make this 18 inches wide on each section there. We all want everything half drilled, and you can see the partition right in the middle. And clean faces on the outside. We'll click on OK. And we'll just wait for the program to think. And there it is. And we're just going to go ahead and drop that. It's always best to always add your line and drop it in first before you add your modules. Some dealers have a question. They always ask me, well, can I move the modules afterwards? It's the easiest thing to do is to start over again, grab your construction lines and figure out where you want to place this. So for example, if I need this construction line to be centered, I would probably grab my line-to-line annotation and center this first before I drop it. You can see that I just guesstimated and I put 102 on one side and 97 on the other side. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. The next type of island, let's grab an iMod again. We're going to drag it into the placement zone. I see my 2 magnets, and we're going to drop it right here. And let's grab the same thing again. Right-click the illustration. We're going to make this one with 2 openings. This time, I'm going to change it so it's not perfect. It's not symmetrical. Let's change it so that my front is going to be 19, or one side is going to be 19. The other side, let's leave it at 14. And I just want to show everybody the customization here. We'll have one side 18 and one side 12. It's not a perfect and it's not symmetrical, but it is symmetrical in that sense there on the front and the back side. Click on OK. And drop it in. This is the only module that we cannot customize to the 16th of an inch for the depths. It's the way that the system is built. When you click on your actual modules and click on attributes, we can click on our variables, and in our variables, we can go to our depth. In our depth back, as well as our depth front, so you can see there is no custom button for only modules, island modules. You could only select depths of 12, 14, 16, 19, and 24. You cannot customize the actual depth. If we go to our widths, we can still customize it to a 16th of an inch. That would be your limitation for using our island modules. Okay. So now we see the differences between the two types of modules. We have a stackable module with an applied back. We've got an island module right here, where it's all symmetrical, 18 inches wide and 14 inches deep. And we have this one here where we have 14 inches deep on one side, we have 19 inches deep on the other side, and we have a 12-inch wide on the left and 18 wide on the right. So it's very, very much customizable. So let's just say now a dealer would like to make this centered, and we know that we didn't center this. The easiest thing to do is to delete all our modules. And this is just my experience. Every designer is going to be a little bit different on how they actually drag and drop, move things around and so forth. But for me personally, I like just to start it over again. It's a lot simpler and a lot quicker personally. I'm going to delete all these modules and we'll start again. So I want to center this. So to have this centered, I'm going to grab my line-to-line annotations and my schematics. And I see that this is 97 3/8 from this center line to the back wall and 102 5/8. We can't really center this. So the easiest thing to do is just kind of move it like so and just drag until we're kind of close to the area that we'd like. This is 100 and a half, and this is 99. So let's just go ahead and start playing around with this just a little bit here. 99, and that's pretty darn close. But if you want to be a little bit more accurate, let's just drag it again. And pretty darn close. So let's go down one more to a 16th. $99 and 1/4, so just a little bit more. It's always helpful if we kind of just zoom in whenever we can. If we zoom in, we can probably go closer to a 16th of an inch. And now we have 100 inches on each side. Now that that's all done, and then delete these markers. And then we can go back again and add our modules. So once again, categories, and let's grab an island module. We'll drag it in. I see my two magnets. Go to my farthest working left and let go of my mouse. Right-click the illustration. This time, let's make 3 openings. Let's make a really large island. Pretty big area. And let's say here we have opening depth back, opening depth front, and the widths. So let's make this a little bit big here. So let's make this 19 and 19 on the front and back. We'll make these all 24 inches. Maybe the client wants to add some accessories or tilt out baskets there. Remember, our magic numbers are always going to be 18, 24, and 30 inches. The reason why those are magic numbers is that our supplier, which is HAFLA, we actually have certain types of accessories, such as tilt-out laundry baskets and so forth, that have to be those set sizes. Everything's going to be half drilled, so we have the end panels are all half drilled. It's already preset for us, and we're going to go ahead and drop it in. A question that I get asked as well is during the installation process, how do we actually mount this? Well, have your installer hilty it down to the ground or use L brackets. They can actually lift up the toe kicks and they can actually go ahead and have this anchored to the ground. There are several different ways to anchor the actual module right onto the ground. best thing to do is ask your installation crew. Maybe they actually want to use L brackets or use the Hilti system, whatever they'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this and drop it in there. We know that this line, this construction line, is centered between the top wall and the bottom wall. Now let's go ahead and center this from the left wall and the right wall. Once that's all done and saved. Perfect. Now I can go ahead and grab my line annotations there. And I know that I have 63 and 5/16 this way here. So I can just easily right click on the island module, drag, and we're going to drag it ever so slightly to the left side. We have 62 and 5/8 and 62 and 3/8. So pretty darn close enough. We'll just leave it alone there. And then I would always use my schematics whenever I can and grab the annotations. So when I start adding my modules on the left side, the right side, and the back side, we can actually figure out the exact clearance that somebody's going to need. We typically like to suggest from shoulder to shoulder is roughly about 22 inches. So what you want to have an actual module that's in place here, but we need roughly at least 28 inches for some space between this point and this point. Again, if they're a little bit larger or skinnier, you can actually adjust that width, whatever you'd like to do. You're going to encounter some clients who prefer to maximize their closet as much as they can, and they prefer to kind of shimmy through and have it a little bit smaller. But again, it's really up to you and the client. Now that I've got my modules in place here, I've already got my elevations intact here. And we'll do a half split screen so you can actually see what I'm doing. For the time being, I'm going to just subtract all these dimensions here. I'm going to right click on the off-screen area here. We'll click on display settings, and underneath my scheme, I'm going to click on no dimensions. We'll click on apply and OK. And I've subtracted the dimensions for now. I could always try to add it in there, but we have to add one of those schematics. As you can see, I can't get anything. Sometimes it's easier to kind of subtract your dimensions for the time being, especially if you're in a working area, and then you can always add them back in there afterwards. So I've got an island back and island front. If I see in my island front, there's going to be a slight difference here. You can see that I have my orange verticals, but if I click on my island front, the verticals are orange, but they have slight markings indicating that is going to be the back side. So I've labeled this island front and island back just for my annotation wise, but as a design purpose, we know that that's going to be your back side and the other side is going to be your front side. They're really one and the same. So let's go ahead and start populating some accessories, some drawers, and some shelves. I'm going to click on my categories, parts, and let's grab some adjustable shelves. Now, if I grab an adjustable shelf, whenever I'm using adjustable shelves or fixed shelves for islands only. For islands only, I want to use something called floating. So either the shelf fixed floating or shelf adjustable floating. The reason why we have this is the program doesn't know what really the front or the back is. Sometimes it will slip going back and forth. So let's do a quick test. So if I used a regular shelf adjustable, I drag it in and I drop. I'm going to left click my mouse, drop it in, and now it's disappeared. The system automatically wants to put it to the front side here. If I want to keep that fixed shelf there, I'm going to use floating. Left click, drag, drop, and drop. So now it's kept it there. We've forced the program to say that I want a fixed shelf here. Okay? That's what those mean. So to make things easier, whenever you're making islands, always use shelf fixed floating or shelf adjustable floating. So let's say on one side, we want a whole bunch of adjustable shelf floatings on here. Let's put that all in the middle. And let's grab the other side and let's add a whole bunch of adjustable shelves floating on this side as well. Oh, and so you can see that I kind of moved backwards. Now I have two. So indicating, so let's go ahead and delete some of those. Let's go back in the back side. Now shelf adjustable floating didn't work. So now we can use a regular shelf adjustable. So the program's trying to figure out where is everything located. It takes a little bit of practice there, but we're going to try to force something here. Perfect. So it kept it in place. We can leave it alone. and we can delete one of these other shelves here. So it's a little bit of trickery here. We have to kind of force the program. So if it doesn't work, try going down one hole or going up one hole. Try using one side, then the back side, and so forth. Eventually, it will take and the program will figure it out. And again, the reason why is we have a fictitious wall and the program doesn't know what is the front side, what is the back side. And that's the only reason for that. All right, so let's go ahead and add some accessories on here. We can go ahead to our categories, accessories, and let's just say that on the left side here, we want a whole bunch of, let's say, tilt-out laundry hampers or pull-out laundry hampers. Let's do the pull-outs. I like using these pull-outs. There's no drawer front, so let's go ahead and use the laundry hamper pull-out section. Drag it in, drop. And did everybody take a look at that? I did not have a magnet. Let's try that once again. Left click, drag my laundry hamper. I don't have a magnet. I'm just going to let go of my mouse. It will recognize that there is a system there. And now I have my laundry basket. There is enough space here. I can drag it to the bottom a little bit there. And I could technically add an adjustable shelf here. Shelf adjustable, loading, drop. And I now have a little bit of a cubby there that I can use. Same thing, shelf adjustable floating, drop. And let's see how much variance I have here. I have 1 1/4, that should be sufficient. And my actual laundry hamper from top to bottom is 20 7/8. So let's go to the other side. Let's try the other type of laundry basket. Let's go to our accessories. And instead of pull out, we'll go to tilt out. Under tilt out, we have the tilt out black canvas bag with a drawer front. And the other section is our wire basket. And this comes with or without the canvas bag. It's really up to you. I personally like the actual canvas bags. When we actually go in there, I'll show you both. Okay. Let's go back here. I'm going to delete one of these pullouts. And I'm going to grab the tilt out hamper with the door front, drag, drop, drop. Now this fixed shelf, I can delete this now. And it looks like here you can see that the tilt out basket went on the other side. So we're going to try to force that and try to do that again. Before I delete that, let's just try drag and dropping. And again, I'm showing everybody that sometimes it goes to the front, sometimes it goes to the back. So now this one now is forced. It's now in the front. But you can see that this system won't really work. There's not enough clearance. If I put in an actual fixed shelf here, fixed shelf loading, drop it in, half overlay, I have a very tiny area here of 1 3/4. That's not really a good space to have. So what I would do in this case is I would increase the module or decrease the module. Because it's not a big island, the best thing to do is to decrease the module by 1 3/4. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to right click anywhere for my island module, attributes, right click the illustration, and we're going to go down one hole and see if that works. Click on apply. And let's move this out of the way for a second there, and let's take a look at our design. Okay, it moved down just a little bit. We're going to go down one more hole, go down, click on OK, and that should create my half overlay for my door front for my tilt out laundry basket. Perfect. I got my half overlay. It looks a little bit odd because again, the island doesn't know if it's front or back there, but it is in fact correct. Let's go to the other side now, and we'll delete this here. Now we have 2 types of tilt out laundry baskets for our chrome basket. Let's go to our categories, accessories, tilt outs. So we have the tilt out hamper, the wire basket. We're going to drag and drop 2 of them. First one, I'm going to drag and drop. And you can see here, include cloth, no. Okay, we're going to click on OK. So there's going to be no cloth and drop. Half overlay, everything's great. Let's do the same thing on the right side. Drag, tilt out basket, wire basket, let go of my mouse. Right-click the illustration so I can see a bit better. And this time I'm going to say, yes, I do want the cloth bag, so it is removable. Click on OK and drop. Please note that some of our accessories, such as our wire baskets and tilt-out laundry hampers, can only accommodate a 14-inch deep system. If I take a look here, I can see that my system, oops, let's turn on the actual display settings. You can see. Right-click, display settings. We had no dimensions. Let's say all dimensions for now. Click on OK. And let's just delete this just for a second here so I can just show everyone. I'm going to just right-click and auto-dim the entirety of the line here so I can see it a bit better. Okay. You can see here that the tilt-out system is 14 inches deep. So now I have a 5-inch gap in the back. So if you did use an island module, it would make sense for you not to use the tilt-out laundry basket because now you have a little bit of a gap. You certainly can. So if somebody wants the other sections to be like wire baskets or shelves and so forth, and they like the depth, absolutely. But for tilt-outs and certain types of accessories, it's best to use the 14-inch deep system there. Now I can go ahead and add my top. Go to my categories, parts. And at the very bottom, I have my tops. I can left-click tops, drag it into my top view or my elevation view. It doesn't really matter. Left-click, drop it in. Now we're going to go to my tops. I'm going to right-click my tops, go into my attributes. And in my attributes, I'm going to right-click the illustration, left-click my variables. By default, the overhang front is always going to be 1 inch. But because this is an island, we want to have a 1-inch overhang on all 4 sides. Again, this is strictly based on the designer as well as the end client. I like to have a 1-inch overhang on all 4 sides, and some people like to have it greater or shorter. I've got a 1-inch overhang on all 4 sides, and now I have my 1.5-inch thick countertop. Grab my line annotations. Now I have one piece at 70 inches by 44. If you're having troubles clicking on anything, I always advise to left-click off-screen. When we say off-screen, we're talking about anywhere outside of the workable area. So my off-screen in my elevation view is anywhere on the left or right side, and my off-screen area on my top view is anywhere outside of these walls. So I can left-click off these walls so nothing's selected, then I can zoom in and select exactly what I want and move everything. Left-click off-screen, nothing's highlighted. Now I can select exactly what I want. Well, that concludes our session about our island modules and how to create them. Again, to recap, we're going to use our construction lines. Once we've added our construction lines, double-sided or single-sided, we're going to grab our placement zones, and then we're going to center it in the line, and then we can add our island module or our stackable modules, customizing our islands however we'd like. This also works true for our peninsulas. If you wanted to create the peninsula, and this island was closer to the wall or touching the wall, then obviously I would then join my construction line to the wall here. And now I can actually create a peninsula and move this whole entirety of the closet system to the left side or the right side, joining in the wall itself. You can see now that it's created the separation for the walls. And now I can easily take my island module, just drag it and attach it to the wall. I could add my fillers on the sides and so forth, etc. Now I have my peninsula. So thank you very much once again. Again, my name is Sherwin Keeley. and I'm with Perfect Fit Closets. If you ever need any help, any questions, we can certainly review your projects. We can certainly give you complimentary training. We can watch you design your projects. Whatever you'd like us to do, if you have any questions, the best way to get hold of our team is at support@perfectfitcanada.com. We use the actual queue system, so first come, first serve. So if you have any questions, please email us at support. We'll certainly reply back to you, or we'll give you a call as soon as possible. We like to try to touch base with everybody within 24 hours. Design work, if you ever need assistance, always try to contact us to see if you can book an appointment for future dates, or you can certainly chime in on our webinars. We're always available and happy to help our designers out. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful day.